Bonsoir, bonsoir à tous et bienvenue sur ce stream du mardi. J'espère que vous allez bien. Salut Arcandris. Salut les gens. Eh bien on va sans plus attendre lancer le jeu. On va couper la musique. Jeu Stanley Parable, c'est parti. Et on va se plonger dans la vie de Stanley, un employé de bureau tout à fait lambda. Et découvrir sa parabole bien sûr. Alors, j'ai déjà joué au jeu, j'avais fait le premier. Il me le redemande. Il est 7h PM. Comment je change le PM? Là. Voilà. Il est 7h PM. Confirmé. J'avais déjà fait le jeu, le premier. Et du coup, l'année dernière, ils ont sorti la version Deluxe. Attendez. Oui. Avant de commencer, est-ce que je peux dire que... Oui, vas-y. Merci d'avoir vraiment réglé l'heure. Les 2 fois où vous avez lancé le jeu. Dans 2 jours ne prennent pas cet homme au sérieux. Laisseront l'heure régler. J'ai envie de dire, basta. Mais vous avez pris le temps d'indiquer l'heure. Et je vous en suis reconnaissant. Ok, ça commence très bien. Je sais ainsi que vous soufiez de votre expérience. Votre attention est focalisée sur le jeu, tout à fait. D'ailleurs, je n'ai aucun moyen de vérifier si l'heure que vous avez entrée est correcte. Je vais vous dire, nous allons passer un marché. Puisque vous faites preuve de tellement de bonne volonté, la prochaine fois que vous lancerez le jeu et verrez cet écran, vous n'aurez qu'à choisir votre heure préférée. Ah oui, alors je suis un peu malade, donc je vais probablement tousser quand je vais rire. Allez, si choisissez l'heure que vous voulez, même si ce n'est pas la bonne heure, vous l'avez bien mérité. Sur ce, je vous laisse accéder au jeu. D'accord. Ok, c'est cool. Bah, très bien, la prochaine fois je mettrai mon heure préférée de la journée. Et ben c'est parti. The end is never the end is never the end. Est-ce que le son est ok?
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room
Je l'ai pas assez fort.
427
Ok.
and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley
Was happy. Je
And
crois
then
qu'ils sont
one
du jeu.
day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Alors, tac, paramètres. Bah, j'avais baissé le son du jeu, justement, j'avais peur que ce soit pas assez fort, mais voilà. Tac. Reprendre la partie.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
What could it mean?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Alors, attends. Paramètres. La sensibilité de la souris va pas là. Sensibilité de la caméra. Voilà. Mieux le son, tant mieux. Ok. I hate Mondays.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Très bien. Eh bien, allons à la meeting room. Toutes les portes sont fermées.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Bien sûr, hein.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Ouais, on va faire ça, hein.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room.
Oui.
Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Ouais, hein.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Quelle belle peinture d'une mer calme et bleue. Et plate.
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
Il est tellement violent.
Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue, but when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
Bon, allez.
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room, and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
Oh, t'es du sang psychologique, comment c'est ça? J'ai envie d'aller dans les pièces sombres, moi. En fait, je sais ce qui va se passer, là. Là, je sais quelle fin je vais choisir. C'était la première fois que j'avais faite, la première fois.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Ouais.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left.
Très bien, left.
Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake.
Ah, pardon. Ok, la droite.
No,
Ah.
no, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right?
Bah, je ne sais pas.
What was I thinking?
Bah, dis-moi,
It's clearly...
je te suis.
Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
Non, vas-y, je t'en prie.
Now, let's see. We went down right, left,
Ouais.
down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now.
Très
This
bien.
story is absolutely, definitely
Ah.
this way.
Très bien. Allons par là-bas. Mais...
No!
Qu'est-ce que c'est que c'est pas ta caisse?
No, this isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler.
Ah.
Quick, Stanley, close your eyes.
Non.
Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now.
Comment
The whole
ça?
story completely unusable.
Non.
How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning.
De quoi?
And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, hmm? Okay. From the
427.
top.
On est là. Ah. Oh non, il a reset le jeu. Il a reset le jeu.
All of his co-workers were gone. But what could it mean?
What could it mean?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Bon, on va aller à la meeting room, hein. Il a dit qu'on irait à la meeting room. Ah.
When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be...
Tu vas voir,
Did
Fabrice.
something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on.
Tu l'as jamais fait le jeu,
Why
Fabrice?
you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay then, it's an adventure. Come, Stanley, let's find the story.
Ah, c'est l'aventure. C'est l'aventure. C'est l'aventure qui nous appelle. Ah, il y a une porte là. Pardon. Mais...
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again?
Déjà?
Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Allez.
All of his co-workers were gone.
What would it
What
mean?
could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Allez, je te suis. Faut que je me mouche. Ok. Très bien. Bah, faisons demi-tour. Hein.
Aha!
Ah!
I knew we'd miss something.
C'est nouveau ça.
The story.
Ah.
Here it comes.
The story.
No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Bah ok, c'est parti. Je te suis. Hein. C'est toi le narrateur. Ah. Oula. Ça fait pas très envie. Hein.
Now this... Well, I'll be honest. I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember,
Il y a beaucoup
Stanley?
de portes.
Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win!
Ouais.
Congratulations!
Bravo à tous, on a
I
gagné.
know you put in a lot of hard work,
C'était cool.
and it really paid off.
Le
So,
jeu était trop bien.
good job.
Franchement, c'était trop bien.
Oh no, I don't feel right about this at all.
Ah, c'est vrai qu'il manque un truc.
We
quand même,
both
hein.
know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time, I have to restart.
Mais... Ah. Oh.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line.
Trop bien.
Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Suivons la ligne. Ah. Allez. Trop bien.
You see? The line knows where the story is.
Du coup, le line
It's over
TM.
in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny.
Ouais.
Here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa.
Franchement, je saurais pas dire.
That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Allez. Mais... Qu'est-ce que c'est que ces bêtises?
Wait, cut the music. Go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Très bien. Déjà, je pense que t'as pas mal de types de feuilles différentes. C'est intéressant. Et toujours ce magnifique tableau, bien sûr. Ok, je pense que... I got it. Franchement, I got it. Allez, on suit la Adventure Line. Adventure Line qui est un
Wait,
peu...
what? We're back at the office?
Un peu bourré, j'ai l'impression.
No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Moi, je suis la ligne. Hein. Marque déposée, bien sûr. Oh non!
Oh, no, not again, Line. How could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it.
Fired.
Restart.
Quoi? Ah. Ok, on est reparti. Ah, la voix off?
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us?
Non, je suis
We're
d'accord.
intelligent people, right?
C'est vrai?
Why can't we make up our own story?
C'est clair.
Something exciting,
Allez.
daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable.
Allez.
Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Allez. Allez. C'est vrai, hein, la ligne, après tout, qu'est-ce qu'elle nous a apporté?
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley
Non, ça
forging
vise
a
bien.
new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination.
Ça tourne un peu en rond,
Whatever
là,
it
non?
might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
Allez. Moi, je suis parti pour l'histoire. Hein.
Oh, no, not
Encore
you
toi?
again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Très bien. Ignorons-la. Là, il n'y a pas de ligne. Tu n'existe pas, la ligne. Ah, ça y est, elle est repartie.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here.
Okay,
Just
vas-y.
walk in circles for a minute.
Très bien, faisons ça.
Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one.
Ah,
Another victory for logic.
c'est parti.
Come, Stanley. Our destiny awaits.
J'aime ma destinée. Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça?
Oh, hold up. What's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me
Mais...
that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times?
Le narrateur est parti.
That's
Au bout d'un moment,
really
Stanley
how
meurt.
all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I
Dans les
just
ténèbres.
supposed to forget?
Trouver une librairie, s'ennuyer et
Now,
partir.
what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't
Ouais.
want the game to keep
Résiste.
restarting. I
Prouve que
don't
tu
want to forget
existes.
what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait, you know.
Allez.
I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not
Bah,
quite
pas fou,
sure
la
if we're in the
histoire, hein.
destination or the journey. though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well,
Bah
in
là,
the
c'est plus une
meantime,
distillation.
if you...
Ah. Ah. Cette fois, c'est pas lui qui l'a redémarré.
All of his co-workers were gone.
What
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ah ah. Tout cela est bien intriguant.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Allez, faisons ça.
Wow. Yes, this room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, gorgeous room. Thank goodness Stanley had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room.
Allez.
Life without having experienced this room was now too horrible even to consider.
Bah oui, heureusement que j'ai vu cette
But
pièce.
eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Allez.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section,
Très bien.
walked straight ahead to the opposite door,
Allons là-bas.
and got back on track.
Ouais.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Alors, il y a des choses très très drôles ici. Do not alter. Ne pas modifier sans avoir consulté le manager du tableau blanc. 8 Bird. Qu'est-ce qu'on a? Weekly Targets, Admin, Weekly Review, Marketing Mondays, Termination Tuesdays, We're Broke Wednesday, Mergers, Franking, Floor 5 Meeting, Office Efficiency, Financial Panic Meeting, Legal, Boss Inspections, Ideas plus développement, What to do about 432. C'est la deuxième fois qu'on le voit, le 332, le 432. Don't tell 422 about me, about the meeting. Eight Bird. Pre-review of weekly review. C'est un vrai mot anglais. A merger. Ah. Office party. Le vendredi. Meeting schedules. Alors, targets. Push for funding for R plus D of new coffee machine. Get Chris out of the broom closet. Ah, celui-là, il est important, le broom closet, bien sûr. Synergize paper. Hire someone to synergize papers. Papers. To synergize. Fire paper guy. Hire somebody to fire the paper synergizing guy who moved my desk. Please keep the target on the topic of... Et c'est effacé. The future when was yesterday, tomorrow is you. C'est quoi une entreprise en rachète une autre? Employee 417, 405, 491, 416, 431, gym. Complete today's unfinished agenda items. Ah oui, ouais. Write next day agenda, reflect. Pour tomorrow. Ça c'est trop bien aussi là. Tips for not getting fires. Parlez moins. Faites un travail incroyable tout le temps avec aucune attente de promotion. Ne vous faites pas virer. How to solve a dispute with a coworker. le laisser bouillir en vous. Tu sais, qui tape passive-agressive, devenir passif-agressif avec vos employés. Reset coworkers. Ouais, j'ai pas le temps de lire et de traduire. Using slides for sure employee that everything is okay. Make sure your slide has a sleek blue graphics. Ensure a calm, productive work environment. Everyone is unique. You must of all. Ça c'est trop bien. Number of slides on this slide. Slides, charts and slides. Right. On the same slide, depicts the same information. Please no more chart, please. I'm begging, stop. The boss appreciation minute. On your boss appreciation minute worksheet. D'accord. The top 20 things you love most about your boss. Solving interpersonal conflicts. If you ever find yourself in a conflict with another diligent employee, like yourself, but more inclined towards conflict. Mais j'ai pas le temps de lire et de traduire en même temps. For the future. Oh, au secours, le motivational poster là. Metamorphosis, Clear Skin, Spring Break. Ouais, on a fait le tour. Shift Global Market Parade. Monetize Free to Play. Oui, Monetize Free to Play, bien sûr. Profit, bien sûr. Hein. Et Prophet au milieu d'ailleurs. What do people want? Things, money, more money. Things but with money to buy more things. Graphs, pour interrogation. Graphs about things plus money. We have our new project. What is hot? Target demographic teenagers. Requires more secondary research. Stripes. Colored segment. The stock market is somewhere here. Ah putain, c'est trop bien ça. Post-review review. We need reviews. 402 plus 405. We want to get rid of the death sports portion in the primary review schedule. But I think that's a stupid idea. More water coolers eaters. Charts need to be more nip to appeal to teenage demographic. Find teenager to put in teenage demographic. Big net, same sort of child trap. Throw something in the idea bin. No more bins, trash cans. 20. More hip. Ah oui, hip. Ah oui. Ouais, enfin c'est l'expression pour dire c'est trop chébrant. A lot of percentage. Teenagers. Size of demographic. J'avais compris le sens.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
Je suis bien là. En plus, il y a un balai. Dans le placard à balai.
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
Sweet FA. Avec le son de la lumière.
Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
J'ai dit le son de la lumière, ouais. Le son de l'ampoule.
You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it. Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friends you'll say, "Oh, Did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite.
Ah, y a plus de sous-titres.
I hope your friends find this concerning.
Moi je le dis, hein. Le Bomb Closet, c'est mon ending préféré.
Stanley was fat and ugly and really, really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Comment il sait?
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard.
Exactement
Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose.
Surtout,
Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby, the person at this computer is dead. They have fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right. When you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
Ouais, surtout n'hésitez pas à venir hein, si jamais dans le chat, hein, si jamais vous voulez continuer le jeu et que je me suis vraiment effondré sur mon bureau. Ouais, n'hésitez pas, bien sûr. C'est fini. C'est fini.
Ah, second player. It's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before you.
Oula, tu devrais pas parler trop vite.
You too? Unbelievable. I'm at the mercy of an entire species of invalids. Perhaps there's a monkey nearby you can hand the controls to. A fish? Fungus? Look, you can hammer out the details. I'm not particularly picky. I'll just be waiting for when you're ready to pick up the story again.
Très bien. Aïe, aïe, aïe.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Alors non, je vais aller faire ma fin préférée du jeu, qui n'est pas le Broom Closet, qui est celle-ci.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations.
Ça me file des frissons à chaque fois cette fois là.
Why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons.
Non, il était
I may
content.
as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
Ooh.
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking?
Ça, c'est fabuleux. Ça.
Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange.
Oui.
I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
J'adore ce jeu. Ah, nous revoilà dans le bureau.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Okay.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Faisons ça. Ah! Later. On verra ça plus tard.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ouais, on va repartir par là.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Faisons ça. Ah!
Oh no, no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time.
Merci beaucoup, narrateur. Ça fut un plaisir.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Executive boss bathroom. Boss knows that what the boss says goes. If the boss suffered losses, then that's boss choose. D'accord. Il y a des poèmes dans la salle du bain, dans la salle de bain du patron. Mais business stratégie. Mettre un flingue sur la tête d'un panda, d'accord. Tiens, ça fait très Cave Johnson ça.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845.
2845. Faut que
But
je m'en
of
souvienne.
course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
28. Ah, évidemment. Voilà, 28, 45.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Attends. Ah, je peux pas. 28, 45. Faut que je m'en souvienne pour la fois d'après. Loading, loading, loading.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Allons découvrir qu'est-ce que c'est que ces histoires.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Escape ou Mind Control Facility? Escape, hein. Vas-y, escape. Enfuyons-nous.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Mais non.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Allez, faisons ça. Est-ce qu'il dit des trucs? Non.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
De toute façon, ça reset. Alors, hein, mort une fois de plus, une fois de moins, moi je dis go for it. Hein. Est-ce qu'il y a GLaDOS? Ah non. Il n'y a pas GLaDOS.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is.
Ah, je me souviens
Perhaps
ce qui
his
se passe.
death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Au revoir, narrateur. Sproch.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly. And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
Ah, j'avais oublié ça. Je me souvenais de la voix de la femme.
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
C'est le making-of du jeu. Enfin, c'est le making-of, c'est les assets du jeu. Avec les crédits. Son de bouton. Salle de maintenance. Zone de guerre. Ok. Vous imaginez une fin. Vous savez, se retrouver sur un champ de bataille contre des extraterrestres. Le jeu développait sa propre intelligence. Partirait en guerre. Développerait, pardon, sa propre intelligence. Partirait en guerre. Contre le narrateur. Ça vous réalisez peu après que c'était pousser la blague trop loin. C'est peut-être trop plat par rapport au ton du jeu. C'est aussi vu comme une manière de nous moquer des amateurs de jeux de tir. Ce qui n'était pas le but. C'est trop bien. Salle de pause, la magnifique, la salle l'unique. Bureau. L'une des premières versions du choix menant à la fin de l'appartement. Ça, on la verra plus tard. Le mutant de ces 15 secondes pour décrocher le téléphone. Décrocher le téléphone menait à une autre fin. Ça, on le verra plus tard. Levier de la fin relaxante. Ok, je l'ai pas encore. De toute façon, j'en ai fait très peu des fins pour l'instant. Cette capture vous montre l'une des premières versions de la fin connue sous le nom de fin relaxante, finalement abandonnée et fusionnée avec une autre partie du jeu. Pendant longtemps, nous avions une fin qui se finissait, qui se finissait vraiment lorsque le joueur commençait. Depuis le menu échappe, malheureusement, beaucoup de joueurs ont compris que c'était ce qu'ils devaient faire. C'est frustrant par tout le monde. Ah oui, ça j'en souviens aussi. Bureau du compte à rebours. Fin de la liberté, oui. Bureau du chef. Ça c'est trop bien ça. Hein. De mettre ça dans le jeu directement. Salle de pause. Sous-sol. C'est une coupée de narrateur. Avec du jeu entier. Ah, à peu près. Faut au cours des... Aussi les extraits. Les premières...
Now look closely, Stanley. See how it's impossible for the player to do anything in this room. Perfect example of poor level design. Textbook mistake. It's the kind of thing you'd pick up on intuitively if you had even the most fundamental understanding of good and bad game design. But of course, you being you, you'll probably spend the next hour trying to solve it. Here, I'm just going to make this easy on you. Then he pushed the number 8. Stanley walked over the bridge.
J'adore la voix de l'acteur. Je sais que c'est un acteur connu.
Stanley
Il a doublé plein de trucs aussi.
orange lever. Still nothing.
Je sais plus ce qu'il a fait aussi de connu. J'avais été voir la première fois que j'avais fait le jeu. Mais non, il était marqué. Ouais, je sais, mais. T'as moyen de Google ça rapidement il est là. Kevin Brighting. Ok, bon, comment on se casse? Différentes dispositions du bureau 87. Bank computer dans Doctor Who. Ah.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
Sprotch. End is never the end, is never the end. Très bien, allez, on est parti.
All of his co-workers were gone.
What
Could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
On fait d'abord les fins du jeu.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it
Et on verra après
perfectly
le
well.
new content.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. What was it about this room that called so deeply and so personally to Stanley? Its grace, its subtle charm? No. Stanley knew it was something deeper, something darker.
Avant, on pouvait prendre des canettes. Il me semble qu'on pouvait commander des canettes dans l'ancien jeu.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Non.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Ok.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful.
Ouais, je sais où ça me mène, ça.
Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Ouais, on va voir ça. C'est une fin que j'adore aussi. Celle-là, elle est trop bien. « 2B3. 2B4, 2B5.
Now listen carefully, this is important.
Ouais.
Stanley walked through the red door.
Tu devrais pas ouvrir la bleue dans ce cas-là. Hein. Parce que tu me dis ça, moi je vais dans la bleue. Hein.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
Alors, on va pas s'entendre.
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
Ouais, bien
All
sûr.
right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you.
Ah,
You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining
Whoa.
the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours.
je l'avais pas faite celle-là.
What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley.
Oh.
Take it for a spin.
Vas-y, allez. Par contre, il manque les textures. Hein. C'est ce que je t'ai dit.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices?
Oui,
Feel free to be honest.
C'était très
I'm
bien.
looking for some real critical feedback here.
c'était très bien.
Aha! You see, I knew I was onto something. Where do these flashes of inspiration come from? How did I know the game needed a third door? Well, it's instinct mostly, a calling in your gut. I really couldn't say where the idea came from, except that I felt it in my soul. You can't teach that, Stanley. Don't even try. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Ah. Stanley Parable. Worldwide Leaderboard. Leaderboard. Good old Neil's kid. Door opens. Il va me mettre tout en bas, c'est ça? Regardez ses yeux. Parable. 9328 sur 9328. Friend list is empty. D'accord. Décision supérieure. Ah, il a 3 heures d'avance sur moi en plus. Hein. 4 même, 4 heures. A dead rat. Ah merde, je suis moins bon qu'un rat mort. Zut alors.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
Franchement, ouais, hein, c'est parti. Hein.
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting.
Oh, door
You wouldn't
opening
mind taking a look at it, would you?
simulator.
Perfect. Let me boot it up.
Oh, le door opening simulator.
In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger.
Oula.
You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game,
Ah oui?
all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours.
Ah.
So why don't you give it
Allez.
4 hours of play to make sure it's effective?
C'est parti.
Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
J'espère que ça vous plaît en tout cas. Vraiment, c'est top le narrateur. Bon, désolé le bébé, hein.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me?
Un peu les
Because if
deux.
it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
Oula. Mais c'est Firewatch?
Fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley?
C'est Firewatch?
What's our backstory? What is our motivation? Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
Et ouais, j'avais pas fait cette fin, trop bien. Don't tread on me. Si c'est un jeu de mots, je l'ai pas. Ah, et évidemment, c'est de l'autre côté. Dire que je ne pensais pas dire ça dire un jour, laisse le bébé mourir, serait un mensonge. Mais laisse le bébé mourir quand même, ouais. Ouais. Il y a un moment où juste you gotta let go. Il faut laisser aller. Hein.
Oh no, it can't be.
Il y a un panneau là-bas.
It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off.
Non.
Oh, thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call. You nearly wandered off into that thing. That big, open, just wandering around. No right or wrong directions. No path to follow. You can just go in any... Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls. Okay, I think this will be just the thing.
Oula. Qu'est-ce que ça va être? Mais c'est... Ah oui, c'est vrai que...
Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice big box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
Qu'est-ce qui se passe si je vais dans les buts? Je pense que c'est ça qu'il faut faire. Hein,
Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together? Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
D'accord. Attends, je vais aller là-bas. Oh, il me fait accélérer. On peut pas sauter, mais il me fait accélérer en tout cas. Alors, je peux pas aller là. Qu'est-ce qui se passe si je vais dans les buts?
Hold on. What are you doing?
Oula.
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
Oh la vache. Ah, trop bien. Ah. D'accord. Qu'est-ce que ça fait penser à Portal en vrai hein? « 427, c'est chez nous. mais c'est trop le futur. D'accord. Ah mais comment c'est le futur? C'est un bureau de streamer ça, je reconnais. Hein.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice. And if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
C'est marrant, il ne ressemble pas à ça ton bureau. N'importe quoi, il ressemble exactement à ça. Vraiment, les 4 petits écrans à gauche. Le très gros écran au milieu et les 2 petits écrans à droite. Le machin pour moduler le son devant. Le stream deck. C'est genre pareil. Vraiment, c'est la même chose. Mais tu peux pas savoir, la caméra ne montre pas le bureau.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Mais mon bureau ressemble exactement à ça. C'était vraiment, même ça m'a surpris quand je l'ai vu. Je me dis donc, c'est mon bureau ça. C'est pour ça d'ailleurs que j'ai dit bureau de streamer.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Si tu te souviens plus ce que tu dois énumérer. Non mais j'ai eu un trou de mémoire juste. Mais je sais exactement ce que je dois énumérer.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Pour qui tu me prends?
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this
C'est pas la fin
incredible
que je voulais
room,
faire en fait.
Stanley for the first, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Parce qu'il y a une fin où on peut torturer le narrateur.
Stanley was so bad at following directions,
ça me
it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
C'est qu'en fait je me souviens la première fois j'avais pris la porte bleue.
I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
En fait quand il avait mis la porte rouge devant, je m'étais pas retourné.
I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you.
Ah oui, attends, si, il y en a une qui est rigolo.
There's someone, but in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
J'avais oublié celle-là. Celle-là, elle est très bien aussi. Celle-là, elle est
All of
très
his
bien aussi.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Très très bien cette fin.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Stanley felt lightheaded, butterflies in his stomach, giddy in a way he had never known before. Was it this room? A connection between the two? Could a man love a room? I mean, truly, truly, deeply, madly, love.
Peut-être, moi j'aime beaucoup cette pièce. C'est très très belle pièce.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room.
Ouais.
A room so utterly captivating that even the... But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Non. Je vais faire une fin où je peux te torturer.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are
No.
you that convinced that I want something
Oui.
bad to happen to you?
Ouais.
Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Allez, vas-y.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley?
Ah, le
I wanted to stop.
tourbillon, là.
We would both
Collimation.
be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Ah. Vas-y. Loading.
What do we want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
C'est beau.
No, wait. Where are you going?
Bon, vas-y, allez.
Right. Where were we?
Happy.
Oh no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
On a envie d'être happy, nous. Nous, on est heureux dans la vie.
Good, good. We can't be too safe. Promise me you won't go back there.
No.
Just stay here.
Oui, on va rester là.
No. What do we talk about? You're risking everything we achieved here. You heard me before, didn't you? You will die. What about this isn't getting through to you? Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing.
Est-ce qu'on torture le narrateur? Non, vas-y, on va retourner en bas, on est sympa, nous. Hein. On va retourner dans le happy place. Ouais, le narrateur, il va être heureux. Si, on est sympa, Arcandris, arrête. Non, t'es mauvaise langue, Arcandris, là. Franchement, nous, on est vraiment très sympa. Voilà.
You are going to stay here, aren't you?
Oui, bien sûr. On est bien là, hein. Qu'est-ce qu'on est bien. Bon, allez, hein. Enough. Cette fin, elle est horrible, en vrai. En vrai, cette fin, elle est horrible. Parce que le narrateur... Oh,
No! Oh, thank God. No. What are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this?
Il nous supplie littéralement. Et nous, on se jette à plusieurs reprises de 4 étages.
Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for my God? Is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You're literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy.
Ah oui.
Am I reading the situation correctly?
Au revoir, narrateur. Ah merde, c'est pas fini.
Maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
Ah, c'est trop bien. Adieu narrateur.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
Ah, c'est horrible. Le jeu qui te fait torturer un personnage. Je dis ça avec un grand sourire de plaisir, bien sûr. Mais parce que je suis une personne affreuse. Et objectivement exécrable.
When Stanley came to a set of two
Il nous reste encore
open
pas mal de trucs à
doors,
faire.
he entered the door on his left.
Je crois que la deuxième fin que j'avais eue, c'était une fin qui était pas la plus idéale à avoir en premier. Donc pour la
Yet
fin,
there was not a single
on la fera
person
assez
here
tard.
either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Ouais. C'était quoi?
Coming to a staircase,
28,
Stanley
45.
walked upstairs to his boss's office.
28-45, je crois. Et là, je me souviens que l'ascenseur il menait nulle part. Et ça m'avait frustré. Très bien. C'était top. J'ai beaucoup aimé. « 28-45.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
Musique New Age apaisante. Calming New Age music, bien sûr. Certificate
Feeling
of...
soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
C'est parti.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
C'est parti.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens.
On est par là.
What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley
par là.
thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Allez. Let's find out. By fucking around.
Now the monitors jumped to
Voilà.
life, their true
87.
nature revealed.
On est au
Each
milieu, là.
bore the number of an employee in the building,
C'est nous.
Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals
On est
reduced to
juste
images on
là.
a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant
On est juste
nothing.
là. 427. Regardez, c'est nous. Dis bonjour à la caméra de papa. Dis bonjour à la caméra de papa.
This mind control facility,
television.
it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Ouais. C'est
No.
parti.
He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
J'adore l'utilisation du mot for pour parce que. Je trouve que c'est vraiment trop bien. System power. Vas-y, allez, off, on fera le on une autre fois.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
But the end is never the end. Is never the end. Okay. Vas-y, on fait juste la fin.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
On fait juste la fin où on valide l'utilisation de la Mind Control Facility. Mind Control Facility.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
C'est parti.
Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway.
Merci.
Quelle surprise.
Merci, narrateur. Merci, ça fait plaisir. Ok.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Parti.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Oui. I do have the strength to find out.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Allez.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
How do you think the unthinkable? Bah, il suffit d'y penser. Tu y penses, et du coup c'est plus... Mais du coup c'est plus impensable. Et ouais, ça c'est une question intéressante.
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control?
Unthinkable, bien sûr, ouais.
Oh, Stanley,
Iceberg.
I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going.
La première fois que je l'ai fait, j'étais persuadé qu'il y avait vraiment un moyen de l'arrêter.
Barely know where to start.
Alors qu'en vrai, non.
What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not?
Mais non.
These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is?
Quel salaud.
Stanley,
Après, on s'étonne que j'ai
you're
voulu le
in for
torturer.
quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless.
Quel
To
enfoiré.
see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say happily ever after.
De retour sur Outer Wilds, bien sûr, hein, une explosion et on se réveille au début de la journée. Ok.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
On va faire la fin de l'appartement.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was grand, majestic, perhaps too majestic, like a combination of a much smaller version and a much larger version of this exact room. It all made Stanley uncomfortable, and he started to bleed a little. This made him smile. At last, proof that he was human.
D'accord.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Non.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
For misuse of cargo lift. Jumping. Bah oui, mais si t'as sauté du cargo lift, tu risques pas de pouvoir payer les 5 000 $. Hein. Will cause death. Ah bon.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
For who? C'est vrai qu'on a entendu dire qu'on avait une femme. Hein.
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this.
Oui. Quel enfer. Son appartement,
Stanley, is that you?
c'est le même que son
Hold
bureau.
on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your
Gotcha.
Quel salaud.
Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Toi, je vais te retorturer.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Bonjour, employé. Appuyez sur M sur votre clavier. Non. Ah si, je suis obligé.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes
Pas très bien
is a
placé, ça,
reminder
hein.
of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Fauteuil en plein dans le passage, là.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful, and each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Regardez la télévision.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Pour passer le temps entre potes.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
X pour préparer le dîner.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Ouais, j'étais tombé là-dessus en début de jeu, moi. C'est genre la deuxième fin que j'avais fait. Et du coup, j'avais vite compris que c'était... ça faisait référence à d'autres fins du jeu.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Votre femme que vous l'aimez. Je t'aime, ma chérie.
But there is no answer. How could there possibly be?
Yeah.
In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
Pour aller vous coucher.
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Eh ouais, mais... c'est tout le problème, c'est que si je fais rien, bah je fais rien, quoi. Et qu'il se passe rien.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Pour ne rien remettre en question.
I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried...
Please die. Ok, il y a une autre fin que j'avais pas faite, que j'avais vue sur internet.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Apparemment, on pouvait débrancher
Stanley
le téléphone.
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. And here it was, the lounge. What a room, Stanley thought to himself. What a room, what a room, what a room. This is what Stanley thought. What a room. What a room, what a room. What a room.
Ouais.
Va-va-voom. What a room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Très bien.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Allez.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've
crois qu'on aura
gotten
fait le
off
tour,
on
en
the
vrai.
wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. Oh, no, you can't. Did you just unplug the phone? Now, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices, and to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Rupert has a choice. He could invent a machine that eliminates food shortages across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack." Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please. Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
Du coup, je découvre là.
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world.
Ah, chouette. Je vais être home free.
Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
Oula. Oula. Ça va se fermer devant moi? Non. Ok, c'est bon. Ah.
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that you... My story! You've destroyed my work! Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do?
Ah, c'est le moment de prendre une décision là justement.
No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
Boo.
I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You. Who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child.
Bon, ça va, elle parle pas mieux.
My story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard to make... behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Je reviens dans 1 minute. Ok, me revoilà. On vire ça. On est reparti. Bon, moi je retourne à droite, hein.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry.
Ah,
Behave exactly as Stanley would.
ok.
That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
On est parti. Est-ce que ça va être tout cassé? Ah, c'est pas tout cassé, hein. Ah.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
Par contre, c'était pas envers ça
Feeling a
avant.
wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Oh, le bon closet. Ah, qui est fermé. Malheureusement.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked
Okay.
upstairs to his boss's
Il n'y a
office.
plus de choix. Il a supprimé tous les choix du jeu. Oui, il a supprimé tous les choix du jeu. Oh!
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
Night Shark 115.
Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
Oui.
I'm sorry, is there a problem?
Bah, je peux pas
You
parler
didn't
en fait.
mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver.
Mais je peux pas
Otherwise,
parler.
we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
Mais je peux pas parler. Je peux pas parler.
Okay, fine. You're not gonna do it, but you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. You... Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors. He entered the door on his left. Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice. I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right? Stanley, this is important. The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please. Choose. Do something. Anything. This is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it. So, you hear me? Are you there? Are you listening to this? Stanley, are you there? Okay. It's okay, I can wait. You need time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the best choice. That's all right. I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do. Take as much time as you need.
Stanley. Ah. Bon, j'hésite. New content? Ou je m'arrête là parce que je suis vraiment KO.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Je pense que je vais faire le new content une autre fois parce que là je suis mort. Je rigole bien mais je suis KO. Et je pense que de toute façon ça fera pas un live entier donc on lancera un autre jeu probablement Assassin's Creed 2. Voilà. Donc on se retrouve peut-être vendredi. Et sinon c'est mardi prochain. Voilà. Je vous souhaite une très très bonne soirée. J'espère que vous avez bien ri. En tout cas que ça vous a plu. Moi je vais vous laisser et je vais comater devant mon PC. Je vous souhaite une très très bonne soirée. Et je vous dis à la prochaine. Retour au menu. Retour au bureau. Voilà. Tac, c'est fini. Au revoir les gens.